They say a picture paints 1,000 words, so let's cut to the chase, shall we? Yes, that's right, my Citroen Ami broke down. Sort of. As you can see, the RAC had to deploy their smallest truck for the job to take my Citroen Ami to the dealership. For those of you that made it through the last video, you might have an idea why that might be, but for those of you that are new here, let's start from the beginning. In the last video, I mentioned that after a couple of miles or so, that I was noticing a bit of a whine or a squeal from the drivetrain. If you're not familiar with Ami and how its drivetrain's set up, it's basically like a stop-start alternator from a 48 volt application paired to a differential with a drive belt. There's a picture of it. And it sounded to me a bit like a belt slipping, you know, like when a fan belt slips. So I assume that all is not well with the tension of that belt. I contacted the dealership who I took delivery from and I reported it to them, and they said, stop driving the car, get it transported to us. We've got a complimentary breakdown cover through Citroen Assistance that's part of the warranty that comes with the vehicle, so we want you to have it transported to us. We don't want you to try and drive it. I mean, it's sort of 10-15 miles away. I think it probably would have been fine, but acting under their instructions, it wasn't to be driven. So this is where the fun kind of began. So I phoned Citroen Assistance, and when you call them, a recorded message basically says, if you're not in a dangerous position, so if you're not stuck at the side of the road, please go online and fill out a form, and we'll get to you that way. I guess it frees up capacity in their contact centre, so I did that. Put in all my details, and it says, oh, you need to call us about this breakdown. We're unable to help you online. And I thought, well, I think I might know why that might be. You know, Ami being very new, it probably isn't on the system. We're probably going to have a little bit of fight on our hands. So I called them up, give them the registration number, and I'm, you know, fairly predictably met with a bit of, yeah, that doesn't really show on our system. I'm not sure what that is, sir. And I explained it's an Ami 100% electric. It's a new model. It was the first one delivered in the country. I suspect they do have a procedure for it, but they're maybe not, you know, 100% aware of it. So they looked it up in the system. They found that actually, yeah, it's all good. It is covered as you would expect, as Citroen have promised. And we raised a breakdown call with RAC, who are Citroen Assistance's partner. So it says Citroen Assistance and all the paperwork you might have, but RAC are who actually provide the breakdown cover. And then we wait. Obviously, the vehicle was on my driveway, so there was no risk. There was no. So they're going to always prioritise people that have actually broken down in dangerous situations. Totally understand that. A couple of hours later, probably about 3 hours later, a man in a van turns up who he'd already rang ahead to say he was on his way. He asked some questions. He's like, you know, I have very little information about the vehicle. How much does it weigh? Stuff like that. And I think what they were hoping to do with it was recover it using, they've got these like 4-wheel dolly things that the vans can tow these days, and they're designed for electric vehicles so that they can lift all 4 wheels off the ground and still just tow it with the van without sending for a flatbed. But he didn't have enough technical information available to him to be sure that that would definitely be okay with Ami. So he basically come out, he had a quick look, admitted that there was very little he could do at the roadside, and sent for a flatbed. It was all very pleasant. Nice guy, nice to deal with. He was amazed by Ami. It was the first time he'd seen one up close, and I thought it was quite funny that you know, we had a good chat about what it was, what it wasn't. Just as interested as anybody else seems to be that actually sees it in real life, which I thought was quite good. And then a good few hours later, so I raised the initial call at 8:30 in the morning, and by about 3:30 the flatbed finally turned up. Again, the guy was very enthusiastic about Ami. He said he'd actually made a point of turning down another job to go and pick up a Rolls Royce, and gave that to one of his colleagues so that he could come here to see Ami because he'd never seen one before, and was absolutely buzzing to see it. So he was so happy, which is really cool. Loaded it up onto the, you know, definitely too small for the job flatbed, as you can see in these pictures, and off it went, and it's now at the dealership. So I don't know what's going to happen next. I'm assuming they'll just take the belt off, check the pulleys, put the belt back on, tension it up, and we'll be good to go. They might replace the belt, I don't know. It depends what kind of condition it's going to be in. When I hear more from the dealership, I will definitely let you know. But I thought I'd better put this video out there and just clear things up, because I posted a picture of it on the flatbed and people are like, oh, what's going on, what's going on? So it wasn't a catastrophic breakdown. I think we obviously acted early enough to make sure it's not. Maybe if I left it a bit longer, you know, that situation could have changed. So I think we've done the right thing. I don't know if, you know, flatbedding it in was a little bit too risk averse, but at the end of the day, it's a brand new vehicle. I'm following the guidance of Citroen. Odometer reading is 297 miles, which I don't know if that might be a record for a new vehicle having to have attention from the RAC. I suspect not. I suspect there's worse out there. Let me know if you've had a new vehicle that's broken down really early. How many miles did it have on the clock? I'd be really interested to know, because I know there are some shocking stories out there where things don't quite go to plan with new vehicles, and it falls short of what you might expect. So do let me know. All in all, as long as things progress reasonably quickly and things get sorted out, I'm fairly happy. I don't think it's anything to really moan too much about, but that might change as time goes on. Let me know what you think in the comments. I don't think it should put you off buying one. I mean, I think it's a teething problem with the very first one that was delivered. You know, it's going to happen. I haven't heard of any other problems with them in the UK. I haven't heard of like anybody that works for dealerships saying their demonstrators have had issues like that or anything like that. So I think it's a fairly isolated incident. But if you've got yours already and you're a little bit worried, I wouldn't be. I think just drive it, enjoy it. Everything should be fine. But do keep an eye out for future updates, and because I think you'll be quite interested to see how it's going. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.